Larry Brock and Glen Motz tag team Bill Blair on the Emergency Act invocation. This epic battle to get to the truth as point of order is stated and challenged, and the House erupts on all sides. You don't want to miss the end of this period. It's a good one. Here's the clip.
To the motion, so we'll go Mr. Brock, you have 4 minutes.
Good evening, Minister Blair. I want to sincerely thank you for attending today, and as an observation in line with Senator Harder, I really want to sincerely thank you for your candor and your willingness to respond appropriately to every question that has been put to you. You have been non-evasive and you have been giving us substantive answers. The whole process is to get to the truth, to determine whether or not there was a legal justification for the invocation of the Act. Unlike the Deputy Prime Minister, who wasted 90 minutes of precious committee time, I sincerely thank you. I wish to start off, however, describing my bewilderment and astonishment that someone with your experience in government, someone with your experience in policing for several decades, someone who has participated in the invocation of emergency powers that have never been used in the history of this country would not take notes. I find that absolutely incredible. I want to ask you very, very clearly, in any discussion with Cabinet or your officials in your department, are you telling this committee you did not keep any notes, no note-taking by you, regardless of the number of meetings?
And Mr. Brock, that's in fact true.
Thank you.
I do not keep notes.
I'm going to present to you a series of questions that, in my view, has seriously undermined the confidence of Canadians in this government as to the rationale behind the invocation of the Act. I'm going to ask you whether you agree or disagree. Minister Mendicino has been under fire as of late in the House and in the press because he has made it abundantly clear that it was on the advice of nonpartisan law enforcement that the invocation of the Act was established. We now know that neither the RCMP or the Ottawa Police asked the government to invoke the Act, despite those claims. Do you agree or disagree?
And because I do want to be very candid and forthright with this committee, the police did not ask me.
Thank you.
But if I may,
yep.
But they did.
No, you answered my question. I have limited time, sir. With all due respect, I have limited time. To be very clear, it's an important question you've asked, sir. They provided me with information that I acted upon and that I believe to be true. That informed my subsequent decision and support for the Emergencies Act. Thank you, Minister. Minister Mendicino also falsely claimed, misled Canadians in believing that the Freedom Convoy protesters set fire or attempted to set fire to an Ottawa apartment after locking residents inside, which, according to Ottawa Police, was not true. You accept that?
In part. First of all, I'm aware that was not related to the protest. I don't ascribe any other motive to anyone else.
Thank you. Despite reports of illegal guns in the cabs of some truckers protesting in Ottawa, no gun charges have been laid to date. Despite claims by Minister Mendicino that women were threatened with sexual assault by protesters, no sexual assault charges have been laid to date. You accept that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Interim Chief Bell, my apologies. In Ottawa, during the protest clearing operation, were any loaded shotguns found in the trucks of protesters?
Mr. Chair, what I can indicate is throughout the protest, we did receive information and intelligence around weapons and the possession of weapons by people that either had attended or intended on attending the occupation. As a result of the clearing, at no point did we lay any firearms-related charges, yet there are investigations that continue in relation to weapons possessions at the occupation.
I guess yes or no, Interim Chief, were loaded firearms found in the trucks during the protest clearing operation? Yes or
So
no?
as I indicated, Mr. Chair, there has been no charges laid to date in relations to weapons at the occupation site.
It's just a clear question, Interim Chief. Like, were weapons found? Like, were loaded firearms found? Yes or no?
So in relation to no, not
Okay.
to relating to any charges to this point.
Thank you, Chief. That's very illuminating.
If I may provide a clarification, I was advised by the RCMP that in their investigation of part of the blockades that were taking place in Alberta, that they did have reliable information and intelligence that there were firearms present. They subsequently conducted an investigation and they've laid charges. That matters now before the court, and I'm not going to comment because it's inappropriate to do so. But in that case, there were firearms present and they represented a significant threat to public safety and to the police
In
conducting an
Alberta,
investigation.
there were no guns found in Ottawa.
Again, that's information better provided to you by the police. I don't have all the particulars of their investigations, and I'm not going to comment. It's not appropriate to.
Thank you, Mr. Brock.
Point of order, Chair. This minister just inferred again that the guns found in Coots were somehow protesters, and that is not true. The RCMP have made it very, very clear that it's
Point
not
of order,
true.
Madam Chair. I don't believe
I'm
there
not
is
done.
debate.
I am not done.
This is not a point of order.
I'm not done. You
Is
can
it-
have your point. when
What
I'm
is the
done.
point of order? Is it relevance? Because otherwise,
Let
I'm
them
not done.
finish before you assess that.
Can I be the chair, please, Mr. Motz?
It's not a debate.
Well, out of respect,
trying to correct
allow him
a
to
false
finish the
statement.
point of
Mr.
order.
Brock, we will allow Mr. Motz to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's important that this committee hear accurate information, that Canadians do want accountability and transparency, but to suggest, even remotely, to infer that the firearms in Coots were somehow related to the protesters, we all
order,
know
Madam
is
Chair.
false.
The witness's
RCMP
testimony
has made
stands,
it clear,
and this member
the
is not
RCMP has
raising a
made-
point of order, Madam Chair.
The RCMP has made it clear that that is a criminal organization that had no ties to the protesters. So don't suggest anything otherwise.
We leave it at that. Ms. Van Dyne, please go ahead.
I would like a ruling on the point of order, Madam Chair.
It's not a
Madam
point
Chair,
of
I'd
order.
like to
Go
speak
ahead.
to the same point of order.
I just indicated it's not a point of order and asked Mr. Van Dyne to go ahead.
We'd ask that speech making then be struck from the record because you can't bootstrap your time by raising non-existent points of order to voice your disagreement with the witness's testimony. It's inappropriate, and I think Mr. Motz is beyond that.
When a statement is false, you have to correct it. Or else, what are we doing in this House?
Can we go ahead, Ms. Van Dyne?
I guess we're going to agree to disagree on what's a false statement, Mr. Motz, but thanks for raising a non-point of order.
Madam Chair, if it is open then to question the legitimacy of statements made, then earlier Mr. Motz impugned a statement to Minister Freeland, which was entirely incorrect. He mischaracterized her testimony. So if we are free to make those interventions.
I would ask us to proceed.
Thank you, Madam
Ms.
Chair.
Van Dyne.